then. Nationally, then, we're hearing that the overall pass rates is down from last year, but remains higher than 2019. And as for A levels, the gap between the north and south has widened, also with coastal towns showing lower results as well. The schools minister, Will Quince, has blamed this on the pandemic. Well, let's get a view on this from an education expert. James Uffindell is the CEO of the Bright Network, an organisation that links employers and young people. Hello, James.
Good morning, Carla. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Thank you very much for joining us. First of all, what do you make of this year's results?
Well, firstly, absolutely huge congratulations to all the students who've picked up their results. But believe it or not, fear of exams is a top 3 recurring dream. So we all have these kind of fears of exams at such a moment in everybody's history. So congratulations to everybody. So in terms of the results, kind of as you just said, then grades are down on the last 2 years, where we did have significant grade inflation through teacher assessment grades. So it's a readjustment year by kind of Ofqual. So that's going to be expected. However, the disparity obviously is quite concerning between north and south. You kind of flagged it there. But so, for example, in London, 32% of students are getting the grade 7, so the equivalent to the A, compared to just 22% in the northeast. So there are some big regional disparities going on. Girls are continuing to outperform boys, as they have done historically. And now it's an exciting moment about what to do next. Now you've got your exams.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned the disparities across the country and also assessment of exams as well. You know, there are some who are concerned that a student can put a lot of work into an exam and then the grade can be affected by the government's plans for that year, whether they're trying to bump grades up or pull them down a little bit. I mean, for those who are concerned about that, how important are GCSEs in that next stepping stone, when it comes to getting jobs in the future?
So I would say not to worry too much if you didn't do as well as you hoped today in terms of your exams. So at Bright Network, we've got over 700,000 students on our platform, and we're very lucky. We work with all the big employers. So everybody from kind of Google, Amazon, PwC, kind of big employers who want the very, very best talent. So a few points to pick up on there. Whilst academics are important, so employers rank academics as basically about 6th out of their kind of overall priorities. Students rank them first. So students think academics are far more important to employers than they actually are. Interestingly, employers rank resilience as the second most important thing they think about when they're looking for talent. And resilience is only ranked 12th by students. So my big message to all students is think about your academics, which is great, but do think about all those other kind of transferable skills, things like leadership, problem solving, communication skills, commercial awareness. All of those are actually ranked higher than academics. Interestingly, PwC, so one of the biggest employer of graduates, and they take about 1,000 graduates a year, have just scrapped the need for a 2-1. So they've said that that's not a necessary requirement anymore. And fundamentally, stepping right back, there are massive opportunities now for the UK. So to all the young people out there who've got their results, it's hard because we hear a lot of doom and gloom in the news, and we are obviously going through challenging times. But if you step right back, we've got the lowest unemployment level for 50 years. There's 1.2 million unfilled vacancies. So companies are there, they want to employ people, they want to find great talent. But the sad reality of this situation is we're not developing the right skills in our young people. And we all know that talent is truly everywhere, and opportunity often isn't. So how do we upskill this talent? And if you look about academics as well, there's lots of incredible success stories. People like Deborah Meaden from Dragon's Den, or Richard Branson, who have left school at 16. Obviously, education is now compulsory until 18. But you are going to be able to get ahead even if you don't do as well as you hoped on your GCSEs. And actually, when I think about my own experience, I underperformed massively on my kind of GCSEs, but then I actually then got into some subjects I love. I ended up going to a really kind of good university, I ended up getting into Oxford. I started a business, which I built and then sold. So these kind of personal stories are super important. So don't be too disheartened if you haven't kind of performed as well as you hoped you had today.
Not the be all and end all, absolutely. I know it's hard sometimes to think that, isn't it, in the moment, but stepping back, I hope that people who are a little bit worried about the results they got realise that. And you mentioned the sort of skills that young people should be trained in, and we're not doing that quite as we should. What would you like to see there?
Digital skills and coding. I think they are the most important skills if we are going to compete kind of globally. So 70% of graduates feel that they don't have the right digital skills to enter the world of work. The digital skills crisis is predicted to cost the UK economy 140 billion over the next 10 years. And sorry, not to just quote the statistics, but we're so passionate about it because there was brilliant young people out there. 70% of tech employers don't kind of basically can't find the right talent, and I think we need to do a far better job as a country. So it's funny at the moment because whilst coding is on the curriculum, and I put coding in inverted commas, and being taught to code, often that is kind of, quite frankly, very kind of whiteboard based stuff and just like the theory. I think every young person now should be getting online, doing a course, and having that as a base level, because not only does it enhance your skills base, but it's also a signal to an employer. If you're learning to code, and at Bright Network we have kind of our free online courses people can go and access on our platform. We actually kind of have full boot camps, so we teach our young people to kind of learn to code, and then we put them into our big employers. It's and we've raised about 8 million venture capital funding to do this. But learning to code is just critical, and I'd highly advise any young person to crack on and learn to code. That'd be the number one thing I'd be asking them to think about. And then other qualities, I think teamship skills are so important, and particularly again in this age where so many young people are on their smartphones, and we live in a digital world with our iPhones. Making sure that is really valued by all young people, and those kind of collaboration skills are super important. And again, coming back to resilience, unfairly, this generation is referred to by some of the older generation as Generation Snowflake, which is completely unfair, because if you think about what this generation have been through, with school disruptions, whole classes being sent out through their learning, the pandemic, they have showed remarkable resilience. And the more they can kind of build those resilient skills and demonstrate that to future employers, that the more successful they are going to be with their careers.
James, really interesting to hear your thoughts this morning. Thank you so much for being in touch